So today I'm going to show you guys how to make the Stormtrooper blaster out of mostly cardboard and a few other miscellaneous bits and pieces of junk. Materials list is in the box below. So you want to start by getting two wrapping paper rolls, one that's small enough to fit inside the other. You want to cut them down to size. Mine are about 20 inches. And then draw a long slit with a little circle on the end of it. Cut that out with a utility knife. And then take your second roll and slip that right inside. And then take something circular. I'm using the inside of a roll of tape. Trace that onto a piece of cardstock. My cardstock is an old business card here because it's perfect weight. Glue your plastic circle right inside your piece of cardstock. Then put a little glue on the end of your cardboard tube and glue that right in place. Then take a pair of scissors and cut off the excess so the edges are flush with the edge of the cardboard tube. And cut yourself some long, thin strips of craft foam. You can use 2 or 3 millimeter craft foam here. And you just want to evenly space those around the top half of your wrapping paper roll, leaving the bottom open. Then take a rectangle of craft foam and curve in the edges and cut out an oval in the middle. And then you're going to bend that in half, put a little bit of glue on the bottom edges, and glue that right on the top of your wrapping paper roll, which is becoming the barrel of the gun. Just like that. And then you want a metal ring and another little rectangle of craft foam. The metal ring I just made by bending a piece of wire in shape and gluing it in place. So then you just want to glue those onto the side of the barrel of your gun, just like that. Craft foam holds the ring in place. Then I had some leftover adhesive gems from the Darth Vader costume. So you just want to space those in place. You can just use beads or something similar. Just space those on the bottom. These kind of represent the holes that were there. Just like that. Do that on both sides. And then take a couple of cubes. I'm using some plastic beads. Glue those on the top of the barrel. And then take a strip of cardboard long enough to span both of those beads. Glue that right on top of those. Then cut yourself out 6 rectangles. Mine are a little wide, but glue them all together, and that's going to be the cartridge that sticks out the side. Take a piece of craft foam and glue that onto the end of your stack. And cut the edges so that everything is even. And then to cover up the corrugated parts of the cardboard, just wrap a piece of paper around the entire thing, glue it in place, and cut off the excess. Kind of looks like an ice cream sandwich now. And then take a piece of craft foam and wrap that around half of it, making sure the open side is where the craft foam is being wrapped. Glue that in place, and then just glue that to the side of your barrel. Then take something long and oval, just using wooden bead, glue that next to the cartridge. And then take something long and rectangular. This is a mounting bracket that I never ended up using. You can also just take a piece of cardboard and drill some holes in it, anything like that. Take a couple of beads or buttons, something round. I'm taking a lot of artistic liberty with this too, so you can use your own junk to make it look as authentic as you want. Take a long strip of craft foam and glue that around the very edge of the barrel. This is the back of the gun actually. And glue a cardboard circle cap on the end. Cut a couple of tombstone shaped pieces and glue those on the end bead. So here's what you should have so far. Starting to take shape. Then glue a long bead or something similar on the edge of that long slit you cut. Take another strip of foam, scrunch it up so that it bubbles in the center, and glue that in place near that other bead. Glue a thin strip along the top, a little bit less wide than the cardboard strip, and then take a couple little Monopoly house looking pieces of craft foam and glue those on either side. Just like that. And then you want to take some various caps. These were paint caps, and the long thin one was actually from a 4th of July flare. So stick a circle of craft foam in the end of one of them, and then glue a few of your caps together. Again, you want them to be different sizes, some thick, some thin, to make the shape of the scope. Glue them together so that you have yourself a little scope for your gun. Glue a square something on the bottom. I'm just using a bead. You know, please just use a stack of cardboard if you need to, and then just glue that on the top of the gun. Then put some puffy paint lines over in the groove there. Take 2 beads, a small one and a big one, stack them on top of each other, and glue those onto the end of the scope. Then take a piece of 5mm craft foam, glue that into the bottom. You can also use cardboard, of course. And then a long piece of 2 or 3mm craft foam, nice long strip, and glue that onto that piece you just put on, so it goes all the way to the end of the gun. Take a circle, I'm using a circular bead, glue that onto the very back of the gun. And then a long thin strip of craft foam. You're just going to fold that right around the end cap at the back of the gun. So there's that whole section there. It's starting to look the way it should. To then cut out your handle pieces. I'm going to cut out 5 or 6 of those depending on the thickness of your cardboard. Glue those together and then glue some paper around the corrugated part so that you don't see the corrugated part, and just trim off any of the excess so that it's flush with the edges of the cardboard. And then cut out the grips. These are also in the template. Glue one on each side and then glue the whole handle right to the bottom of the gun. Take 2 long thin beads or something similar and glue them in the curve of the grips. Cut out your trigger piece out of 5mm craft foam. Glue that onto the angle of the handle. And cut out a thin piece to use as the trigger guard. And glue that right in place. And then you just want some piece of junk to stick on the end. I'm just using an old buckle. Glue that right on the end of the gun. Then take a long thin strip of foam and glue it on edge right behind that buckle. That's how it looks flipped right up. And then take another thin piece and go from the edge of the piece you just put on to a little bit beyond the back of the handle. Do that on both sides, and then give the whole thing 3 coats of white school glue. And then once the coats of glue are dry, paint the entire thing a glossy black. I'm using kind of a metallic black actually that gave it that glossy color. So here's what it looks like on this side, and here's what the whole gun looks like on this side. And now we need to try it out and see if it works.
Wow, this thing works perfectly. What are you talking about? You missed every shot. Yeah, exactly.